Good morning, happy pot lovers. My name is Pat Webb, Pat Webb's Pots. My channels are under Pat's Pot page on all the social media outlets. Welcome and thanks for joining me. If you're new here, I hope I earn a like and a subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I am hoping to get up to 1,000 subscribers pretty soon. And I want to give a shout out, and I'm going to put some links down in the description for some new potters that have just started posting to YouTube, and give them a look and hopefully a subscribe and help support all of the people that share their glaze combinations and their experience. This pottery community on YouTube and Facebook is such a warm and supportive community, and I really want to thank each and every one of you for all of the input. We help each other out. We share our glaze combos, and it's just a fun place to be. It makes the hobby that much better when you have people to share it with. So anyway, the kiln is a Paragon A88B manual fire kiln sitter model, old school. The firing schedule that I use is pretty much double all of the times from the Paragon suggested. So it's a slow ramp, natural cool. So I fired this. I started at 7 a.m. yesterday. The kiln shut off on its own at 7 p.m. And 7 o'clock this morning, I opened the lid so that it could cool. Anyway, I did have a not so sneaky peek, but here is a peek for you. And this is a lot of glaze tests, new to me glazes, and some new glazes. So let's start out with this one is, and I mark the bottom, see where it's, this is Kiln Unload 29, and this is piece 21. So, and I use an underglaze pencil to do that. And this is the Speedball Galaxy Mist, and it's on Rue. I put an R right there to indicate that it's Rue. But this is the Speedball's Galaxy Mist, and the light is not great. We're in a shadow. But that's kind of interesting. I would like it better if it had some kind of a fluxy glaze under it. I did get a lot of pinholing on this. You can see right there. So this will need to be refired. I will probably put a little bit of honey flux on top of it, and we'll see what that does. Does not say what the liner glaze is on that, but that doesn't look the same inside. Maybe I did less coats. I did not realize that the Rue was speckled, so I'll have to look at my box because I did not think Rue was a speckled clay. Anyway, these handles were inspired by Matthew Kelly. So it's a new handle shape for me. I'll have to try it and see how I like it. All right. Next, these are some garlic graters, and the texture got a little bit filled in on that one, but it says the olive oil tap room. This was an experiment. And I did put the olive oil tap room and the phone number on the back in the underglaze pencil with one coat of Maco's micro pearl under that. And let me look this up. So this is Rainforest, Amaco Rainforest on the leaves, Black Ongo by Mako on the letters, and Olives, Mako's Brown Ongo on the stems. Green tea on the outside, that's a Mako green tea, micro pearl over the whole inside, and then seaweed on the rim. So the green tea came down to here, and seaweed over the micro pearl. It was just one coat, I thought, of micro pearl there. Anyway, that's kind of interesting. Oh, this one is the same deal, but it has rainforest dip, and then green tea just on the rim, a thick coat, and seaweed on the top inch inside and out. And seaweed also on the leaves, and then black and brown engobe on these parts. But I don't know if you can catch. I'll have to take some pictures in the sunlight. But the seaweed and the rainforest did some pretty cool things. And these have herb stripper holes, 2 of those filled in. So herb stripper holes, garlic grater, and concept is you can kind of make a little bit of salad dressing in there or something. And this one had a leaf and an olive fall off. So I have to glue them back on. They go up here. So I knocked them off when I was putting it in the kiln. But such is life. All right. That was just something fun I did. The lid was fired on this little stilt thingy here. But this is a sugar bowl. And let's see, 29-20 this is the Speedball Blue Flame. And there is a matching, let's see if I can do this without dropping stuff. I'll have to grind that off. I don't think that's going to pull off. Thing with the stilt. It fell down, but it didn't fall over. So I'll see if I can salvage this spoon. If not, I can make another one. But, yep, and that is the Speedball Blue Flame 3 coats. Did not run off the pot. Shouldn't have put it thinner on the spoon, though. And I can just grind those little places where the stilt was. Okay. Now this one was kind of a fail. This little pumpkin, I have, let's see. So it is Colors for Earth assorted on the different decorations. And then I did micro pearl. I did on the leaf, I did some micro jade, and the stem was micro ash. And then I did assorted jungle gems all over the pumpkin part of it, but I had also dipped it in a satin matte clear, and it obviously got too thick on this. So I'm going to try putting it up on stilts and firing it again with some clear on it and see if I can't melt off some of that satin matte and salvage this piece, because it looks kind of like it's got a fungus on it or something. So anyway, this was just a fun little doodad. We'll see how that goes. And then these guys are a pendant and earring, and I have on the fins is textured kiwi fruit, and then this is seahorses, Spanish moss, and those are both spectrum glazes, and it'll be a little set with a pendant and earrings. And I just made these with some latex spring molds that I got online. You can get them on Temu, Amazon, various places like that. Okay, and then the rest of this shelf is textiles. So this is Galaxy Mist on Speckled Turtle and Big Turtle. Those are Kentucky Mudworks glaze. Got a little too thick on this one. It doesn't show the texture. On the smooth is all right. And like I said, I would like this better, I think, with a fluxy glaze over it or under it. These are Speedball's Dragon's Eye on, this is Rue, this is Big Turtle, and this is Speckled Turtle. And then on the back, I have the Mako Light Magma, and I tested it over top of the glaze, and it does some interesting things over top of the glaze, so I will have to explore that a little bit further. I probably didn't put it on thick enough to get the magma effect to the maximum on that, but you can see where it's starting to bubble up. So, oops. All right. These three are natural opal, and I do not know why natural opal turns green like that. And then on the back side, I have blue crawl from, I think it was a Coyote. I will have to look and put it up on the screen. And apparently the crawl needs to be thicker. It looks more like a sodium silicate type of treatment. It's still cool, but, and then we have, this is Rue, Big Turtle, and Speckled Turtle. And that shows the texture very well. Cones on this shelf, we got 2A True Cone 6. And for those of you that haven't watched before, I kiln wash my cone packs, and it helps the cones to release without tearing up your cone holder. And yeah, you can make your own cone packs. They're not hard to do. I just never remember to make them in advance, and I don't want something exploding in a glaze fire. So these are Speedball's Lemon Drop glaze that was in that sampler pack that I got. That looks very white to me. This is Rue, Big Turtle, Speckled Turtle. And on the back is the Cactus Crawl. And I did overlap the glaze. It doesn't seem to have a lot of effect like it does with the Amaco crawls, so I will have to play with that a little bit more and see how that does. These Coyote crawls are very dry. Let's see. And then a couple more chest tiles. This is Prisma Green on Rue and Big Turtle. And then on the back, I have the Dark Magma with the Prisma Green. The Dark Magma got a little bit more crawly than the bubbly than the light one did. So maybe I'll put it on heavier. Anyway, that's a kind of a chartreusey green there, if you can see. And I did not test it on the porcelain because I ran out of porcelain test tiles. I'll have to make some more. And then this is the Blue Flame, Speedball's Blue Flame on Big Turtle and Speckled Turtle, because I did the cup in, I'd already did the sugar bowl in the Blue Flame, I think. So that is on texture, and that is on a smooth surface. And it behaved well. It didn't run. It didn't blister. And that was the last of the Prisma green. This is on speckled turtle. Let's get it in front of the camera. That is the last Prisma green on speckled turtle with the black crawl on the back. Like I said, it does show the texture nicely. And it didn't seem to pockmark on the where the speckles are. All right, take the shelf out. Okay, interesting. I'll give you a peek down here. Hey, let's see what we've got. 29-7. This is, okay. This is on speckled turtle. And we have Coyote alabaster as a liner and dipped up to about here. And then we have Spectrum's textured kiwi fruit ×2 on the top 2/3 and the top inch inside. So I did it kind of in a wavy pattern around here. I did get 1, 2, 3 little pinholes. The rim could be a little smoother. The alabaster feels nice. And the inside, we got a little bit of movement down into the mud. So there's the bottom. And yep. Okay. Yeah, I did get a little bit of pinholing from the speckles. I'm not real fond of that. I don't typically use speckled glaze because of that, but I have been trying different clays to see what kind of results I get. And if you don't try, you don't know, right? So these are oil bottles for an order. Oh, I like that one. That is kind of rustic looking. And this is Amaco Ancient Copper on these bands. And then, let's see, 17, I want to make sure I tell you the right thing. Satin patina on here. And it looks like it could have used a little bit more glaze there, but it's fine. And then little ancient copper in the foot there. And then it's just alabaster poured inside. And I'm running short on time and I didn't bring one of the oil pours out here, but I'll take a picture later with the oil pours in. So this is a small oil bottle, or you can use it for vinegars or whatever. I may refire this with more of the satin patina on there. I don't know. The ancient copper turned out super cool though. I kind of almost like it. I'll have to live with it a little bit and see what I find. And this one is rainforest. I think that's all it had on it. Alabaster inside and rainforest outside. I like what the rainforest alabaster did. I'll have to play with that. Had a couple of places where the glaze didn't fill in. My rainforest is still a little thick. I'm going to have to thin it down just a little bit more or dip a little bit quicker. I mean, I did fold it in there, and it's interesting because there was white inside of these grooves, but because they were still grooves, it came out darker. And this is on speckled turtle. Again, an oil bottle. So this one turned out pretty cool. So this is speckled turtle, and the only thing on here, it's alabaster poured inside, and then the outside is 100% Albany flip brown. And that turned out cool. Sorry about the rain. So, yep, I like oil bottles with a handle. Give you a little leverage, especially if it's a glossy finish. They need texture or something so that you can get a grip. Let's do this one next. I don't know that I like this, but we'll see. All right, I'll have to edit out the train sounds in the background. Yeah, that fits great. So I have three different colors. I have the stainless color, the black color, it's kind of a bronzy color. Now, but what is on this line? This is 4. So it's an alabaster liner, Mako sea salt up to here, and Mako celadon blue down to here. So there's an overlap of about that much. And the celadon blue did the same thing over the sea salt. I don't really care for this up in here, but I wanted something that would show the texture in there. So that's why I use the celadon blue. It doesn't really go well with the speckles. It's not my thing. So there you go. But I like this. So I may possibly recoat with a coat of sea salt and another coat of celadon blue, and then give that kind of rustic texture there. Or I may just put a coat of seaweed over it and fire it like that. And what I do, for those of you wondering, my clays are typically right around the 12% shrink rate. And when I am making an oil bottle, I will size the neck so that this part right here, the top rim, just touching the inside of the neck. And that seems to shrink perfectly for the size. And this is Clayscapes. Set that down. Clayscape black cherry would be made, comes in a powdered form, and you mix it up. That is green, speckled turtle, and big turtle, green, speckled turtle, black cherry. And then on the back, it is pearl white under black cherry and pearl white over black cherry. So I put pearl white on one side, then I dip in the black cherry, and I let it dry, and then I put pearl white over on the other side. And that gives you an idea of how it plays both over and under the other blades, because it makes a difference on some, on others not so much. But it's good to know in advance and put it on a top. Okay, this is 29-13. Let's look at that. All right, so this was alabaster up to here, and then black cherry the other with just the slightest overlap. I like what it did right there. You get a little bit of metallic stuff, and then it's black cherry on the inside. I like the way it breaks on the rim, and this is frost, porcelain. So black cherry on frost is an awesome looking glaze. I'm not thrilled with the overlap, kind of muddy looking. But somebody will like it. Where they meet, there's this really cool metallic thing going on. So yeah, I'll have to play more with that black cherry and try it with different things underneath of it. And when I do my frost on these advancer shells, I use wax with a little bit of alumina hydrate. And it only takes a little, like I have a little cup that I used, one of the little test glaze cups. And so I fill that up with the wax, and then I just put a 1/4 teaspoon of the aluminum hydrate in and mix it well. Not sure what that bump is right there. That's weird. Must have been something in my brush. Anyway, that's a kind of a candle shape that I was testing. I like those. May make them a little bit bigger just with this taller. So I have a bigger mug and then a little handle like that. Yeah. Okay. This one is Dante's. This is the Red Lotus. And that is a cool glaze as well. Look at those metallic highlights coming through there. Does get a little rough on the rim. Don't care that much for it where it goes over the alabaster. And this is on Big Turtle. It does move because they were just meeting. They were not really overlapping. Might try it with a black mat down here. That would be cool looking. Or just raw clay. I wanted to have a stop glaze on there because I know this glaze can run. So next time I'll try it just on with the raw clay and see how it does. But yeah, that turned out really cool. One little pinhole right there. No speckles in this clay. This is just the Big Turtle. One more mug on this shelf. And this is on Big Turtle. And I did a dip in Opulence Violet up to about here. And then Speedball's Lavender Mist on the inside and overlapping the violet. And then a heavy coat of Amaco's Light Flux on the rim and at the joins. And it was, the lavender mist was kind of a wavy line. I do have a little tiny bit of pinholing in the violet. The jury's still out on that glaze. We have a nice breeze out here, but it's playing with my paper, and I don't like that. Okay, this is a test bar, and I will go over test bars in a separate video. And the green underglaze pencil doesn't show up so well. I got some new underglaze pencils too, or pens, and I will review those shortly after I test them a little bit more. But it's important to know, especially if you're doing things like oil bottles, you need something that is not going to absorb. And so that shelf got to a good 6.5, almost to 7. A little hotter on that shelf, which is great for the ancient copper. And I'll have to get a screwdriver and pry that last cone out. Oh, it came out. So it was stuck, but I did not break the cone holder because I kiln washed it. All right. I'll pause you while I get this shelf out. All right, there's the bottom shelf. Pretty much all oil bottles and one vase and some test vases. So I'm excited to see this one. This turned out cool. So this is on Big Turtle, and it is a vase with a built-in flower frog. I did get a little bit of a glaze drip right there, but that's okay. That'll grind off no problem right there. And then to go with the whole theme around here, where you can stick extra flowers in here in these holes, I took a trim tool and just put it in and turned it to create these divots. And some of them I used a ball tool, but then I put a swipe, and this is Amaco's Obsidian, and I put two swirls going down of Obsidian, and then I did the Amaco black crawl on the open spaces. And on the bottom, I also carried the theme with the divots. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. And I will smooth this down just a little bit with 1000 grit. But I like having the contrast of the raw clay there, shows off the big turtle clay and kind of coordinates with the open spaces in the crawl. Yeah. Let me know what you think about that. I'm happy with it. I got one little pinhole right there, and that may just be where the glaze didn't cover quite as much, but I'm not going to refire that because I don't want anything to go wrong with it. Refires are always risky. Okay, this one, let's see if this fits. It does not, so I may have to make that into just a flask or a soap bottle. This one was almost doomed from the start, though. Through a beautiful large oil jar, and I was moving the greenware, not leather hard yet, and this one fell down and landed on the floor splat, like that. But all it did was flatten it out, so I was like, okay, we'll just go with it. And I kind of flattened this side out a little bit and made it into a flask. And my signature on the bottom. And let's see, 2916 is, this is a full dip in sea spray and then partial dip in Blue Monday. And those are opulence glazes. So the Blue Monday went this way and this way. Probably could have used heavier dips, but it's okay. It shows the texture. And alabaster inside. Okay. There's a couple of these that I thought the holes are going to be a little bit small for the oil. Come on, wind. This one is 3. Green tea and black timber. All right. I am trying to like black timber. All right. That fits. So this is Mako's green tea on the texture and Mako's black timber. And that turned out okay. Black timber, I have to say, is not exactly my favorite glaze, but somebody's going to like the rustic look. It'll go with someone's kitchen. Nice neutral colors. The black timber kind of does a mottled effect, which I don't mind, and it shows the texture okay. I was a little worried about that one because that hole was a little bit small. Let's get this one. Hope the oil lid fits. It does, because this one is one of my favorite combos. This is on speckled turtle. I've not done this combo on speckled turtle, but this is a full dip in obsidian, with the exception of about that much right there. The top ½ inch didn't dip in. And then a full dip in power turquoise. And I love the way power turquoise over obsidian looks. Look at that drip right there. Almost hit the shelf, but did not. I did have a little glaze catch right there. And I had thinned the obsidian down for this. But yeah, that turned out nice. And let's see what this one is. Okay. Good fit. This one is 14. All right, so this was alabaster inside, 2 times honey flux on the outside. Let me get it where you can see it. 2 times honey flux on the outside, 2 times iron luster. And I did the iron luster here and here. And 2 times, actually I did the iron luster all over, and then I did 2 times oatmeal right there, up here. I have to look back at my pictures. Iron luster and then oatmeal. Yeah, I have to look back at my pictures. I'll put it up on the screen what I did. And then that was just iron luster in the carvings and wiped back. So when iron luster is thin, it goes that brown color. But yeah, that one turned out cool. Okay. 2 more. And some test pieces. Okay, this one is 12. Alabaster, and that's Coyote's alabaster, by the way, inside and up to here. And I poured it on so it's kind of a wavy line. And then jewelry dipped. And jewelry is a ceramic shop mixing glaze. And then I dipped just the neck right here in rainforest because I wanted to see how it acted with the jewelry. And I like that. That's a cool combination. I will play with that some more. But the rainforest gives this iridescent shimmer and it cools in texture. So, and then that's alabaster in the texture and wiped back on the bottom. Yep. And the stopper fits fine. And last oil bottle. That's kind of cool. Okay. So this one, 5, is alabaster liner. And then Mako's Midnight Rain was in just these pieces right here. And then I covered the whole thing except for the Midnight Rain. There was a little overlap, but I tried not to, with Spanish moss, Spectrum Spanish moss. And this is on Big Turtle. And that's pretty. I like that. I like what both of them did. And I like where they commingled. So, and they break nicely over the texture. And those grooves give you a nice grippy. Okay. That's the last oil bottle. We'll just have a couple of test tiles down here. This is Opulence Violet and then Micro Pearl over the Opulence Violet. And that's on Speckles Pearl. I like that Micro Pearl over the Violet. Violet. And violet with micro pearl. And I extended the micro pearl below the violet just to see how it acted on these clays because it doesn't always like clays of color. And then this is on the roux. Yeah. Okay. I do see some flashing on my kiln shelf from the underglaze pencil. So good to know. This is a test bar from the speckled turtle. And the green showed up a little better on that one. These are red lotus, and on the back is red lotus and honey flux. Red lotus on speckled turtle, big turtle, and room, and honey flux over the red lotus. And the last thing on this shelf is the cones. About a 6.5 on that shelf. So good firing, good optimal temperature for me. And overall, I think it was a successful load. Kiln favorite, that's a hard one because, I'm gonna have to go with this guy for the kiln fave. But you let me know what yours is. Close second is gonna be one of the oil bottles, probably. Maybe this one. I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff in here. It's hard to pick a favorite. So I thank you very much for watching and hope I earned a like and a subscribe from you. And again, check the description down below. I'm going to put the name and links to a couple of new potters that are posting on YouTube. I hope you'll give them a follow and help build their viewership and their reach. It costs you nothing to subscribe and like these videos, but it helps us as content creators. It encourages us to post more, and it helps us to get more exposure. It bumps up the algorithms. So wherever you are, I hope you have a great day or night, whatever the case may be when you're watching this. And I hope you keep challenging yourself and chasing your dreams and stay centered. Thanks for watching. Bye.